Hi guys, and welcome to my March TBR. Once again, the lighting's not gonna be great. Winter is a rough time to film. I've been very undisciplined with my TBRs this year so far, and March I really want to stick to my TBR and I want to complete it, and just the feeling of completing your TBR, it just feels so good, and I would like that feeling again. So I cannot wait to pick these books today. We once again are going to be choosing 4 books from the TBR book jar and TBR prompts. Let's get into it. First, we're going to be choosing our books. We are going to just mix it up and then immediately pick, no dilly-dallying. First is A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. We are jumping back into a Game of Thrones. That's so exciting. Okay, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms takes place 100 years before a Game of Thrones, I think. I first read Blood and Fire, I think, something like that, which takes place like 300 years before a Game of Thrones. And now we are jumping into A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. I am really excited to get back into this world. Okay, number 2 is going to be Tell Them of Battles, Kings, and Elephants. This one, I think I picked it up from like the translated section at the Barnes & Noble in my town. It's a very short book, so I'm happy about that. Number 3 is When the Moon Hatched. Oh my gosh. Okay. And then finally we have, okay, this is a thriller. This is The Swell, but I actually just read a horror book and it made me so paranoid that I don't think I can handle a thriller for the next month. So we'll just pick one more, and that is going to be Of Cages and Crowns. This one was just like a random, I think it's a Wattpad published book I found at Barnes, so excited about those 4. Okay, now let's move on to our prompts. Prompt number 1, is going to be a 5-star prediction. Prompt number 2 is plant on the cover. Number 3, oops, I dropped one, is a book that was on a previous TBR, so like all of my books. Okay, and our final prompt for this video is going to be my favorite color on the title. Perfect. So I'm gonna go gather up these books. I'm gonna pick some books for these prompts, and I will get right back with you. I am back with all my book selections, and I'm actually very excited about this TBR, and I feel like there's a high chance I could definitely complete this entire TBR for this month. So let's first talk about the books that I pulled from the TBR book jar. Number 1 being Of Cages and Crowns. This is what the cover looks like. This is by Brianna Joy Crump, and this is book 1 of the Cold Crown series. I don't know if it's a series or a duology or whatever, but again, I just found this at Barnes & Noble and I thought it sounded good. I'll probably just read the backs of all these books to give a clear, concise explanation of what they're about. So it says, Monroe Benson was born with the power to summon fire from her fingertips. She has spent her life hiding, but when the queen calls for the culling, an age-old tradition where 10 girls battle to the death to claim the crown, Monroe must fight for a throne she does not want. As the next king, Cohen can't question tradition. The culling will make his choices. Who will become his wife, who will rule beside him. But as the flames of rebellion begin to burn, what little control Cohen has over his future is threatened. In Cohen, Monroe sees a boy she could love, while he sees her as more than a goddess-touched girl destined to lose her life. However, as the flames around them raise higher, they face a choice that will change their lives forever. So I think it sounds pretty fun, and I'm very, very excited to read this and see what I think about it. Again, it's published by Wattpad Books, so we'll see what that entails. Then we have a huge book, When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. Again, the first book in its series. I think we have like multiple first books in series in this TBR, but the font and stuff is so easy to read that I feel like it won't be that difficult. People say the world building is like really intense, but I don't know, I feel like I'm used to fantasies and high fantasies and stuff. It says, as an assassin for the rebellion group Fjorduath, I don't know, Rave, it's R-A-E-V-E. Rave's job is to complete orders and never get caught. When a rival bounty hunter turns her world upside down, blood spills, hearts break, and Rave finds herself imprisoned by the Guild of Nobles, a group of powerful fae who turn her into a political statement. Crushed by the loss of his great love, Con Vagor took the head of a king and donned his melted crown. Now on tireless quest to quell the never-ebbing ache in his chest, a clue lures him into the capital's high-security prison where he stumbles upon the imprisoned Rafe. Echoes of the past race between them. There's more to their story than meets the eye, but some truths are too poisonous to swallow. I have just, again, heard such incredible things about this book, and I'm really excited to get into it. I know there's dragons involved. There's like a dragon up there. So I'm very excited for this and very scared too. Then we have a tiny little book, and that is Tell Them of Battles, Kings, and Elephants by Matthias Einard. I was drawn to this cover because I think it's just absolutely beautiful, and it's just so tiny, and this is a translated fiction. It says, in 1506, Michelangelo, a young but already renowned sculptor, is invited by the Sultan of Constantinople to design a bridge over the Golden Horn. The Sultan has offered, along with an enormous payment, the promise of immortality, since Leonardo da Vinci's design was rejected. You will surpass him in glory if you accept, for you will succeed where he has failed, and you will give the world a monument without equal. Michelangelo, after some hesitation, flees Rome and an irritated Pope Julius II, whose commission he leaves unfinished, and arrives in Constantinople for this truly epic project. Once there, he explores the beauty and wonder of the Ottoman Empire, sketching and describing his impressions along the way, as he struggles to create what could be his greatest architectural masterwork. Tell Them of Battles, Kings, and Elephants, constructed from real historical fragments, is a thrilling page-turner about why stories are told, why bridges are built, and how seemingly unmatched fragments, seen from the opposite sides of civilization, can mirror one another. So, just sounds fun and a nice, easy read. And then we have A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms by George R.R. Martin. Again, this is a century before A Game of Thrones takes place. This is taking place nearly a century before the events of A Game of Thrones. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms compiles the first 3 official prequel novellas to George R.R. Martin's ongoing masterwork, A Song of Ice and Fire. And throughout the whole thing, you get like these pictures drawn in there, and I just think this is gonna be a really great read. I loved Fire and Blood. Anyways, I liked the other prequel that he wrote, so I think I'll really like this one. All right, now let's get to the books I chose for the prompts. First prompt was your favorite color on the title. For this one, I chose a Christian nonfiction, and that is Exploring Worship by Bob Sorge. I love this color of blue. I am on the worship team at my church. Worship is one of my biggest passions. I love singing, I love playing guitar. So I just need to read this. I've had this in my possession for a very long time. I actually started it a while ago and was loving it, and then just forgot that I had it. And I really want to read more Christian nonfictions in my life. And so I think this is a really great place to get back on the Christian nonfiction train. And then we have a 5-star prediction. For that, I chose The Jasad Heir by Sarah Hashem. This one I have really been wanting to read for a long time now. And it says, 10 years ago, the kingdom of Jasad burned. Its magic was outlawed, its royal family murdered. At least that's what Sylvia wants people to believe. The heir of Jasad escaped the massacre, and she intends to stay hidden, especially from the armies of Nizal that continue to hunt her people. But a moment of anger changes everything. When Aaron, the Nizal heir, tracks a group of Jasadi rebels to her village, Sylvia accidentally reveals her magic and captures his attention. Now Sylvia is forced to make a deal with her greatest enemy, help him hunt the rebels in exchange for her life. A deadly game begins. Sylvia can't let Aaron discover her identity, even as hatred shifts into something more between the heirs. And as the tides change around her, Sylvia will have to choose between the life she wants and the one she abandoned. This one, again, is just like an enemies to lovers romantasy. I've heard good things about it, but not much. So I'm very eager to get into this one and see what it's actually about, and if I will love it as much as I think I'm going to love it. Next, we have Plant on the cover, and for that I chose Daisy Hates the Great Undoing, because if you look closely, there is a flower, and in the background, I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be, isn't that like a famous painting of like a pond or something? Anyways, there's a plant on the cover. This is just book number 4 in the Magnolia Parks universe. I just read Magnolia Parks The Long Way Home, and it was so good. It was 5 stars. Daisy Hates is not my favorite, so I'm interested to see how I feel about this one. I just don't love the actual character Daisy Hates, so I don't know. But this one is pretty short, but the font is kind of terrible and I don't know. I'll read this. I'll let you know how I feel about it. And then our final book for this TBR is going to be a book on a previous TBR. And for that, I'm choosing a reread, and that is Empire of Storms. I started rereading Throne of Glass last year at the end of the year, and I just kind of forgot that I was rereading it. And this was the next book up. So I'm actually a little bit into this already. I started this like a month ago or something, and I just completely forgot about it. And I miss it. So we're gonna go back into this. So there we have it, my entire March, I keep wanting to say February, my entire March TBR. Let's go through this one more time just to get it in your heads. Empire of Storms by Sarah J. Maas, Daisy Hates the Great Undoing by Jessa Hastings, The Jasad Heir by Sarah Hashem, Exploring Worship by Bob Sorge, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms by George R.R. Martin, Tell Them of Battles, Kings and Elephants by Matthias Inard, When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker, and finally, Of Cages and Crowns by Brianna Joy Crump. Thank you so much for watching my video. Let me know if you've read any of these books and what your thoughts are on them, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.